My mother-in-law put something fishy in my cocktail when she thought I wasn't watching her. A special drink for my beloved son-in-law, Olivia purred, but no smile appeared on her face. I thanked her politely, then deftly exchanged glasses with Richard, a man who never missed an opportunity to belittle my profession. 44 minutes later, I'm Daniel Carter, 31 years old, a freelance photographer based in Portland. Over the past 8 years, I've built my career from scratch, shooting weddings, wildlife, magazine features, the kind of work that actually pays well when you've got talent. And I do. But to my in-laws, particularly Olivia, my success might as well not exist. How's the picture-taking hobby? Richard would ask at Sunday dinners, his tone dripping with condescension. A retired investment banker from Goldman Sachs, he quantified worth in portfolio balances and property values. These family gatherings followed the same painful script. Olivia doting on Sophia, while Richard grilled me about my earnings. My wife would give my hand a reassuring squeeze beneath the table, her silent acknowledgement of their behavior. I'd just returned from a grueling assignment in Colorado, spending days wading through snowdrifts to photograph elk herds for Time magazine. Exhausted as I was, Sophia pleaded we attend her mother's birthday dinner. Just 90 minutes, she'd said. I should have trusted my gut when Olivia isolated me in the kitchen. Should have noticed how her gaze kept darting to the doorway as she pressed that drink into my hand. The barely perceptible shake in her fingers as she murmured, "I made this just for you." Something felt off. I just didn't realize how catastrophically. Sophia and I met 7 years ago at a gallery showing my work. She was completing her master's in environmental science. I was establishing myself in the photography world. We bonded instantly. She appreciated how I framed the world through my lens, and I admired her dedication to preserving it. Her parents? Different story. Richard made his disapproval clear from our first meeting. He'd envisioned a son-in-law with a corner office at McKinsey and corporate benefits. Someone mirroring his own path. Olivia employed subtler tactics, complimenting my photos while inquiring when I'd pursue real work, introducing me as Sophia's photographer friend at family events. For years, I played their game, bringing $200 bottles of wine to dinners, showcasing my magazine features, name-dropping prestigious clients. Nothing altered their view of me as a temporary fixture in their daughter's life, a whimsical detour before she settled down properly. Last Christmas Eve, I caught Olivia's phone conversation. Sophia could have married Dr. Williams, neurosurgeon, old money. Instead, she picked the artistic type. That pause before artistic made it sound like a diagnosis. Richard's approach lacked such nuance. When we shared our plans to start a family, he took me aside. "Kids aren't cheap, boy," he'd said, eyeing my camera like it was a child's toy. "Maybe consider a real job before bringing a child into this world." I never repeated these comments to Sophia. She loved her parents despite their faults, and I refused to put her in the middle. So I played my part, shaking Richard's hand with forced enthusiasm at every visit, praising Olivia's overcooked pot roasts, swallowing my resentment. But the red flags were there, had I chosen to see them. How Olivia always found kitchen chores for Sophia whenever I mentioned career milestones. The accidental exclusions from family portraits. Richard's not-so-subtle suggestion that Sophia needed impulse control counseling. Delivered while staring pointedly at me, I dismissed it all, believing persistence would eventually earn their respect. I couldn't have been more mistaken. The evening of Olivia's birthday dinner, I arrived home from Colorado with wind-chapped skin and a memory card containing images that would cover 6 months of mortgage payments. Exhausted but obedient, I took a shower, put on a shirt, and drove us to their colonial-style mansion in the wealthiest suburb. Dinner followed the usual script, Richard monologuing about stock market triumphs, Olivia obsessing over silverware placement, Sophia's brother Michael and his wife Emma filling the silences with vacuous chatter. I sipped a beer, mentally calculating our escape time. When Olivia announced her famous sangria for dessert, I volunteered to help serve. only to catch her dosing one of two separated glasses with a clear liquid from an unmarked vial. Not fruit syrup, not decorative. Something far more sinister. "Oh, Daniel!" Her voice pitched unnaturally high as she concealed the vial. "This one's yours. Special blend for my favorite son-in-law." My throat constricted. The drink's surface held an almost imperceptible sheen, glinting under the lights. "Let me help serve," I said, taking both prepared glasses. Back at the table, Richard barely glanced up from his phone. "Sangria, sir." I set the doctored glass before him, claiming I preferred water with dessert. 44 minutes later, Richard turned ghostly pale. Beads of sweat dotted his forehead as he bolted for the bathroom, violent retching echoing down the hall. The blood drained from Olivia's face when comprehension struck. Our eyes locked across the table, and in that heartbeat, two truths became undeniable. My mother-in-law had attempted to poison me, and now we both understood I was aware of it. I remained perfectly still, no outburst, no accusation. Just methodically ate my dessert while Sophia hurried to assist her father. Amid the commotion, Richard blaming spoiled seafood, Olivia stuttering excuses, I discreetly secured the untouched glass meant for me. Something fundamental had changed within me. This wasn't hot rage. This was ice-cold clarity. I wouldn't let this slide, but I also refused to play by their rules. I would force them to confront their own monstrousness. That Monday, I brought the glass to Jason, a former client who operated a forensic lab. "Personal or professional?" he asked when I made my request. "Family affair," I replied flatly. 72 hours later, his call came. "Daniel, that sample contained lorazepam. Not deadly, but enough to incapacitate someone for half a day, possibly with amnesia. Where the hell did you get this?" I requested a formal report and ignored his question. That evening, I told Sophia I needed to skip family dinners temporarily, citing deadline pressures for my upcoming gallery show. She seemed disappointed but accepted my explanation. I withheld the lab results for now. I needed irrefutable evidence first. Over the next fortnight, I conducted quiet research. Olivia held active Xanax prescriptions from 4 physicians. Pharmacy records showed dangerous dosage increases over 5 years. Whispers circulated about her bizarre conduct at a charity gala, unexplained disappearances of valuables at her country club. I cataloged every detail and bided my time. The opportunity presented itself when Sophia mentioned, "Mom wants professional shots." "She specifically asked you to." Her eyebrows rose in surprise. I accepted. That Saturday, I showed up at their mansion alone. Camera equipment slung over one shoulder, a sealed folder in my other hand. Olivia greeted me, draped in designer clothes, her makeup immaculate. "Richard's at the office," she announced airily. Before setting up my gear, I spoke calmly. "You should review this first." I passed her the folder containing 2 items, Jason's toxicology analysis and records of her 4 prescriptions. The papers shook in her manicured hands. "This is ridiculous," she hissed. "I would never." "We both know exactly what you did," I interrupted. "The question is why." Her expression turned to stone. "You'll never be worthy of Sophia. Real men offer stability, not snapshots. And poisoning your son-in-law creates stability?" My voice never wavered. "It wouldn't have killed you," she cried. "Just enough to make you ill, to ruin that absurd gallery debut you've been obsessing over. To prove to Sophia you can't be counted on." I let her words hang in the air between us. "Here's how this plays out," I said at last. "You'll confess to Richard, then you'll both start showing me basic decency. Not because you've had some revelation, because the alternative is Sophia learning who her parents truly are." Olivia's laugh rang false. "She'd never take your word over ours." I slung my camera bag over my shoulder. "Perhaps not. But she'll trust forensic reports, pharmacy records, the dozen neighbors you've offended. Want to gamble your daughter's love on that?" I walked out without snapping a single shot. That evening, Olivia called Sophia sobbing, accusing me of intimidation during our session. When Sophia confronted me, the truth came tumbling out. Lab results, prescription duplicates, years of venomous texts from her mother. Mom wouldn't. Sophia's voice faltered mid-sentence. After the fight the next day, her eyes were red. Dad says it's all a mistake, she whispered, that your professional jealousy is making you invent things. I simply nodded. I'd anticipated this. What do you believe? When I asked. She answered by curling into bed, turning her back to me. I'd fought back, yet somehow found myself ensnared tighter in their web. Now I was cast as the villain in their twisted narrative, and they'd successfully sown seeds of distrust in the one person whose faith meant everything. For 14 days, Sophia moved through our home like a ghost, speaking in monosyllables, returning from her parents' house with puffy eyes and fresh uncertainties. I buried myself in work, logging 18-hour days in the darkroom, waiting for the tempest to subside. Then the package came. Plain brown wrapper, no sender, just my name scribbled in shaky block letters. Inside, a thumb drive and a single scrap of paper. You need to watch this. Natalie, Ethan's wife. The files revealed everything. Security footage time-stamped the night of the dinner, Olivia unmistakably doctoring a drink, me entering the kitchen, switching the glasses, Richard gulping from the poisoned one. But the real revelation came afterward, raw footage of Olivia's meltdown, shrieking at Richard for ruining her plan by drinking from the wrong glass. Richard's furious voice boomed through the speakers. This isn't your first stunt like this. I replayed the footage twice more, my stomach churning. This wasn't just proof of Olivia's poisoning attempt, but a documented history of manipulation that Richard had clearly tolerated. The next clip, dated 48 hours after the dinner, showed them arguing in their lavish living room. You think he won't tell Sophia? Richard demanded. Let him try, Olivia scoffed. It's his word against ours. She'd never side with him over family. And if she does? Then she's no daughter of mine. Olivia's voice turned arctic. Relax. I've already begun discussing their marital issues with her. Soon enough, she'll be filing for divorce and believing it was all her idea. I slammed the laptop shut, my fingers trembling. This went far beyond poisoning me. They were methodically engineering Sophia's life, pruning away anyone who didn't conform to their blueprint. And they'd been perfecting this sick routine for years. Natalie answered on the second ring. Why send me this? I demanded. A pause. Then, barely audible, they pulled the same shit when I married Ethan. 2 years of whispering I wasn't suitable nearly destroyed us. Why didn't you warn us? Ethan, he idolizes his father. Her voice cracked. Every time I tried explaining, he said I was imagining things. But watching them target you too? I couldn't stay silent. The following morning, Richard's message buzzed through. We need to speak. Just us men. I found him in the oak-paneled lounge of his golf club, swirling an $80 glass of bourbon. Daniel, he began, forcing a smile, family dynamics can be delicate. Olivia's overprotective, but her heart's in the right place. Poisoning someone is having good intentions? He dismissed me with a flick of his wrist. A simple mistake. Her anxiety medications? I've seen the security tapes, Richard. His expression iced over instantly. What's your price? Money? Should have known you'd eventually show your true colors. I want you both out of our lives, I stated flatly. No more poisoning Sophia against me. No more meddling. Richard's chuckle carried no warmth. You think you're the first gold digger we've handled? He took a slow sip. Sophia always returns to us. Always. Ask her about William sometime. Her real fiancé before you. Sophia was engaged before you, Richard said, swirling his bourbon. Neurosurgeon, good family. helped her see they weren't compatible. His smile turned razor sharp. Took us 5 months. She came home sobbing, right into my arms. The drive home passed in a blur. I called Rachel, Sophia's old college roommate. Williams? Her voice dropped. They destroyed that relationship, planted fake texts showing him cheating. When he denied it, they'd already poisoned her against him. The pieces clicked into place with terrifying clarity. This wasn't personal. It was their playbook, their method for keeping Sophia tethered. I bided my time. Over the next fortnight, I tracked down Williams, now married with twins, who shared their old correspondence, spoke with 3 ex-boyfriends who'd been similarly phased out, collected Natalie's additional footage showing Olivia and Richard plotting. Once the divorce finalizes, we'll have her move back. Richard said on one recording. She always comes home. I transferred all the evidence onto a single hard drive. Then I arranged a dinner with Ethan and Natalie, without warning Sophia about the bomb I was about to drop on her world. As we finished dessert, I plugged my laptop into the television. You all need to witness this, I said quietly. For 59 minutes, the screen displayed their parents' treachery in high definition. Sophia sat frozen, her complexion ghostly. Ethan kept shaking his head, repeating, "This isn't them," like a mantra. When the final clip ended, Sophia turned to me, tears carving paths down her cheeks. "Why didn't you show me before?" "Because you had to see the full picture," I said. "Not just what they did to me, but how they've manipulated you for decades." Ethan shot up, knocking over his chair. "This is doctored. My parents would never—" Natalie gripped his wrist. "They did it to us too, Ethan. Remember how they suddenly approved of me after James was born?" Her voice cracked. A grandson gave them new strings to pull. Ethan's face went slack. "You never said—" "I tried," she murmured. "You weren't ready to hear it." That night, Sophia slipped into bed beside me. "I need space to process everything," she whispered. "But I believe you, and I'm so sorry I ever doubted you." The next morning, Olivia's call came through. Sophia put her on speaker. "Sweetheart, your father and I think you should stay with us a while," Olivia chirped. "Marriages go through rough patches. Some distance might help you think clearly." "Mom," Sophia cut in, "I've seen the footage, all of it. You poisoning Daniel's drink. You and Dad scheming to end my marriage." Dead air, then. "What footage?" "Whatever Daniel showed you is fake. You know how jealous he gets about our closeness." "Enough." Sophia's tone could have cut glass. "We're coming tonight, all of us. Ethan, Natalie, Daniel, and me. No more lies." After hanging up, Sophia turned to me. "They'll deny it all, twist this against you." I nodded. "I know." "So what's our move?" For the first time in weeks, a genuine smile touched my lips. "Let me introduce them to the Daniel they've never met. Not just a photographer, but a storyteller who documents truth." That evening, we arrived at Olivia and Richard's mansion with my full kit. Ethan and Natalie sat rigidly on the antique sofa. Richard oozed false calm. "I hear there's been some confusion." "No confusion," I interrupted, unfolding my tripod. "Just documentation. For posterity." "This is a private matter," Olivia snapped. "Exactly," I agreed. "Family business. And despite your best efforts, I am family." What followed was a forensic dismantling of their lives. The drugged drink, the calculated manipulations, Williams and the other vanished boyfriends. The decades-long control pattern. They called me a liar, a manipulator, unstable. With each accusation, I cued another video, displayed another email. Their faces drained of color. Their protests grew feeble. Finally, Sophia rose. "I'll always love you as my parents. But what you've done?" Her voice broke. "That's beyond forgiveness." "You've lost your grip on our lives," Sophia declared. Ethan nodded firmly. "We're not children anymore. We make our own choices. About love. About everything. Olivia's tears fell then, not from guilt, but from the shattering realization that her control was slipping through her fingers. Richard stood dumbfounded, as if his children's rebellion was a language he couldn't comprehend. As we turned to leave, I pressed a flash drive into Richard's palm. Everything's here. The videos, the emails, the witness accounts. It's yours. His eyes narrowed. What's your game? No game. I won't destroy your reputation. That would hurt Sophia, but I let the word hang. If you ever meddle in our marriage again, if you whisper one word against me, copies go to every country club member, every board partner, every socialite in your little black book. For the first time in 5 years, Richard regarded me with something like admiration. I misjudged you. Yes, I said. You did? Half a year later, Sophia and Ethan were deep in therapy, unraveling years of manipulation. Olivia and Richard maintained cautious distance, respecting our boundaries. Then came the holiday dinner invitation. A fresh beginning. Sophia wanted to go. They're trying, she insisted. I agreed, though I knew better than to trust their transformation. The evening started normally enough. Olivia's elaborate spread, Richard's surprisingly genuine questions about my wildlife photography. After dessert, he led me to his study. Opportunity for you, he said, pouring 2 fingers of $200 scotch. Photography's served you well, but have you considered finance? I could fast-track you to junior partner at Morgan Stanley. 6-figure salary. I accepted the glass but didn't drink. Why? Family looks after family, he said smoothly. You handled our disagreement with integrity. Protected my daughter without backing down. That commands respect. I set the glass down. No, thank you. His smile stiffened. Daniel, this is peace offering. This is just another power play, I said, rising from the leather chair. You can't purchase my loyalty, Richard. And it eats at you that Sophia loves me, flaws and all. Don't be naive, he snapped, the polished veneer cracking. Every man has his price. I straightened my jacket. That's your fundamental mistake, and exactly why you'll never truly know your daughter. Returning to the dining room, I found Olivia flipping through old photo albums with Sophia. Look how content you were here at home, Olivia cooed, tapping a page. Sophia's eyes met mine across the room. One glance at my expression told her everything. Mom, Dad, Sophia announced evenly. We have news. There was silence in the room. I'm 4 weeks pregnant. Their shock was unfeigned. Olivia recovered first, rushing to embrace Sophia with theatrical tears. Richard approached more deliberately, his gaze darting between us. Congratulations, he managed, jaw tight. Thank you, I replied, then leaned closer so only he could hear. This baby will never be one of your chess pieces. That's a promise. His eyes flashed, but he gave a single curt nod. The message had landed. During the drive home, Sophia laced her fingers through mine. They'll always be like this, won't they? Probably, I admitted. But we've changed enough for all of us. 21 days later, a registered envelope arrived from Richard's law firm. Inside, we found the deed to our rented house, trust fund paperwork for our unborn child. No conditions, no explanations, just cold clinical transfers of ownership. This wasn't remorse. Richard didn't do contrition, but it was surrender, the only form he knew. Lily arrived on the hottest July day, named for my grandmother. When Olivia and Richard visited the hospital, they admired her from a careful distance, snapping photos before departing without unsolicited advice. As the seasons turned, we established an uneasy peace. They never apologized, but the manipulations ceased. Then, one autumn evening, while I edited wilderness shots, Sophia entered my studio with Lily in her arms. Mom called, she said. She wants us for Christmas, Sophia said, shifting Lily to her other hip. I minimized the photo editing software. What do you think we should do? I want to go, she answered. But on our terms. We stay at the inn, not their mansion. We set the schedule, and Lily stays with us every second. I nodded. Fair enough. She sat beside me, gently rocking our daughter. I spent years believing success meant earning their approval, meeting every expectation. She met my gaze. Now I understand. It's about living by my values, protecting what truly matters. 14 days before Christmas, Richard's courier delivered a thick envelope. Inside, his firm's $200 annual report, every glossy page featuring my photography, wildlife shots, urban landscapes, the authentic work I'd built without his influence. A single line accompanied it. Hired the best. Thought you'd want to see. This wasn't peacemaking. Something deeper, recognition. Proof he finally saw my success as legitimate, despite never fitting his mold. I didn't acknowledge it. Some truths don't need words. When my Portland gallery opened that May, Sophia stood proudly beside me, Lily babbling in her arms. My parents flew cross-country. Regular clients and new admirers mingled beneath my framed shots. Richard and Olivia appeared during the final hour, brief, almost formal. Olivia cuddled Lily for exactly 3 minutes under Sophia's supervision. Richard examined my displayed work with something resembling admiration before leaving without a single unsolicited business tip. Think they're different? Sophia asked later as we turned the gallery lights off. I weighed my response. Number. But they've stopped fighting reality. Maybe that's our victory. Later, on our porch, watching fireflies dance over the Cascade Mountains, Lily safely asleep upstairs, the realization crystallized. True victory wasn't beating them at their game. It was rewriting the rules entirely. By staying authentic, protecting my family, and defining success my way, I'd achieved what they could never comprehend. Not through deception or force, but with integrity and steady resolve. That quiet triumph, building a meaningful life exactly as I chose, surrounded by those who truly mattered, became my sweetest victory.